I'm recording when you're
Okay, gewaltig. So let's start again, Torah Daled. We are more than halfway through. We'll see if maybe even we can finish it today. If not, not. So for Chazar, I'm going to try to start, I'm going to start kind of in the middle, like a midpoint, because I feel like that it hinges the Torah very nicely from what we learned last week. Nachman was saying last week that there's four elements in the world. There's doimim, tzemeach, chai, medaber. Inanimate, vegetation, and just animal and human beings. It says all of them have midos, attributes that can fall into negative places. So he says like rocks, inanimate objects have laziness and depression, and human beings, it can manifest like that. Tzemeach is desires. It's like always moving all over the place. Chai is just wastefulness. It's just like chilling out, doing nothing, varm betelim, and which sometimes leads to lashon hara. And medaber, human beings have this capability of being full of themselves, being haughty. So he says that all four of these things you have to take care of. You have to destroy them if you want to come to the path of Kedusha. How do you do that? So he says the first two are destroyed with seeing the face of the tzaddik. When you come to see the tzaddik, all of a sudden, your laziness, your depression, and your desires are all wiped out. We spoke last week how it all comes from the same source of trying to fill an inner void when you deal with these things. But he gave the example of both, that when you see your mother, right, a little child is in Gan, he's all tired, he sees his mother, he jumps. He's filled with all his desires, he's doing everything in the sandbox, he sees his mother, he jumps, he runs. So too, when we see the tzaddik, all of our laziness and all of our desires just like get thrown to the wayside and we run. He says that's the first level that gets rid of those two. Then chai and medaber are just dvar metelim and lashon hara and gaiva. Those two are destroyed by giving tzedakah to the tzaddik. So we were trying to explain that a person that's bal gaiva, that's in that headspace, it's not that he's a bal gaiva. He's basically the only person that exists in the world. I was learning this week with the image that came up was, you have like a mountain of people, of human beings, of a pyramid of people, and a bal gaiva in his worldview is the king at the top of that peak. He's sitting on a throne all the way in the top, and the whole of humanity is underneath him. Now, how he can make that up? So he has to put that one down like this. He has to speak lashon hara about that guy like that. He has to weave a whole world view, the whole days. He's handling and judging and making all these things in order that he should be on the top. He's safe. Because really, he's the only person that exists in the world. He doesn't need anyone. He's the king, and that's it. So, obviously it's a psychotic life to live, but we all have that. It infects every single person to a certain extent. We all kind of view ourselves like that. He says, by giving tzedakah to the tzaddik, which means, when we were trying to explain, it means that you recognize, when you give tzedakah stam, you recognize that there's other people in the world. That there's other people that are struggling, that need.
Why isn't the tzedakah stam? Why is the tzedakah to the tzaddik?
So when I was learning it this week, so instead, and to recognize that there's a tzaddik is the next level. Meaning, very nice, there's poor people. Okay, nebuch, miskein, okay, I'll give them tzedakah. But you're recognizing there's people underneath you and there's people on top of you also. Yeah, you recognize, shalom aleichem.
Aleichem shalom. Why aleichem shalom?
We'll get to it.
Shalom aleichem, why?
The Bais Rebbe has a famous Dvar Torah.
Two malachim. Shabbat, how many malachim you have?
Yeah, two malachim, that is four?
During the week, too.
The Bais Rebbe says that when you say Shalom Aleichem, two Yidden say Shalom Aleichem, the other Yid says Mazeh, Aleichem HaShalom. Yidden come together, they always have to fight. But there's love, because when you hug, your hearts, the other side of the heart, they touch. So over here he was saying that the tzedakah to the tzaddik is that you also recognize there's someone on top of you, that there's a world that's above you and there's a world that's underneath you. You recognize that there is a world outside of yourself, and you don't have to be like a little kind of like an 8-year-old child sitting, I'm the biggest, I'm the greatest. You could be on the bottom. You could be sitting on the bottom of the hill there. There's thousands of people all over, and you're fine. You're safe, you're comfortable. That, he says, when you give tzedakah to the tzaddik, when you kind of open yourself up to recognize that there's more to the world than just you, and you're part, and like the Gemara says, that the poverty is a galgala chazer, that it's something that spins around. You give tzedakah now, you'll never know if you need tzedakah. Nowadays, with all the the digital campaigns, you find that this is a metzias. The guy calls you up. He's like, I gave to your campaign last week. Your son's yeshiva. I have all these campaigns all day, and everyone's trying to give. Kitzer, that's the part is that you recognize there's other people around you, there's a world around you, and the third level was. He says, after all of that, you destroyed your chai, medaber, tzameach, you destroyed all those midas rice. But now you don't know where to go. So now he says you have to go to the tzaddik. You have to give vidoy b'fnei tzaddik. That's where we're going to continue. The vidoy b'fnei tzaddik, the speaking out your heart in front of the tzaddik, that helps you to know the pathways where to go from now on. And like we were saying, these could be also parts of your soul. That when you recognize the first level is to see the tzaddik, is to see that you have a neshama tahara, you have a pintel yid inside of you that doesn't have any problems, doesn't need anything, it's perfect and beautiful and amazing. Once you come in contact with that, it destroys your laziness and destroys your desires. And then you have to give to that, which means you have to integrate and recognize that both parts of you, the body and the soul, are all mamish reality of one being that needs to deal with each other. And the third level would be to speak one to the other so that you have that open line of communication so that you know now where to go. So now we're up to Ois Tes in Torah Dalet. So this happens every time you come to the Talmid Chacham and you speak out your heart in front of the Talmid Chacham. This happens every single time. So first of all, he says B'chol Pam, which is amazing thing that it doesn't have to be in Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur in front of the biggest tzaddik in the world. Every time you do this process of trying to speak your heart out, like you say in Breslov, a bissel is oich gut, a little bit is also good. So it does something. And Mesaper in front of Kalibai is also, I think this is a Torah that's Lashon Rabbeinu Zal, where you could learn out from every word. Mesaper in front of Kalibai is teaching us what vidoy is. Right? Vidoy, a lot of times you feel, you hear that it seems like this big, formidable Yom Kippur thing, Shamnu, Bagadnu, ay, ay. But Vida is really just speaking out your heart, which is also a hard thing to do because our hearts are very often very safe. They try to keep themselves from feeling anything. They have thick, safe room, miklat walls, 2 meters thick, that you can't feel anything. So when you try to speak out your heart's like, whoa, we're not speaking anything out. We're good. We're very safe.
We said that there's a difference in Lashon Tzadik and Talmid Chacham.
Right. We tried to speak that.
Before he says the tzedakah you're giving to the Talmid Chacham. It's a Talmid Chacham that Hassan don't have.
Right.
The previous paragraph.
Right.
The same Talmid Chacham that you are choosing to give tzedakah because you're putting in, you go to the same Talmid Chacham to do vidui. It's like the same. It's a continuation from the same Talmid Chacham.
Yeah, it sounds like it's all the same Talmid Chacham.
These are the Talmid Chacham, you're the tzaddik.
Right, I was using the yeah.
Because we said Talmid Chacham knows how the pilpulim and all these is going to help you.
Correct.
It's going to help you how to sort.
It sounds like that. Although I was trying to say the other shiur that Talmid Chacham is the aspect of working things through, which is very true. But now the next line he says about Talmid Chacham u'chinas Moshe. This Talmid Chacham is not stam, like you said, not stam a Rosh Hashiva that could give a good shiur klali. He's talking about someone on the level of Moshe. U'chinas ayin. He's on the level of nothingness, or as Rabbi Jacobson says, no thingness, just nothing. Meaning to say, nothing we think of, we try to think of black or boredom or quietness. No thing is literally zero. There is no existence. Ayin means nothing, but on a level that we have a hard time even conceptualizing.
Right. I understand about what it means for the Talmid Chacham.
So what does it mean? This means the Talmid Chacham that's on the highest levels. The highest levels. It's worth it to delve into why he keeps calling him a Talmid Chacham when this seems to be the biggest tzaddik in the world, Moshe Rabbeinu, But
no, because he was explaining with Talmid Chacham since he have the Torah, in the sense that the person is programmed. The same Torah with the בעצמות, נכון?
Right, it gets into the bones.
So we can make the tikkun for them because we know the tzeruf. Because the combination of him, בעל התורה, הוא בעל התורה, נכון? הוא תלמיד חכם, יש לו תורה. אז התורה שלו, היא מציעה את הצירוף מהעצמות.
Right.
That's why you have to be תלמיד חכם.
Right. Yeah. The Talmid Chacham over here is basically saying that he is a pure manifestation of the Torah. We saw that. He brought down the Gemara there where it says that the Tipshayim that stand up in front of Sefer Torah, they don't stand up in front of a Talmid Chacham. Talmid Chacham is an embodiment of the Torah itself. And he, like he said also over there with the mother, he said that the tzaddik, over there that he used the lashon of a tzaddik or he used the lashon of a Talmid Chacham. There he used the lashon of a tzaddik. Here he used the lashon of a tzaddik adar. So it could be that it's very interchangeable over here. The Talmid Chacham and the tzaddik adar could be very interchangeable. So over here he's saying that this tzaddik Talmid Chacham is on the level of Moshe b'chinas ayin. Moshe goes to Chacham me'ayin timatza. We're on Dalet and Ice Test, just starting. Chacham me'ayin timatza. Chacham is from ayin. Get to the level higher than Chacham is the lashon of ayin, the place of ayin. So he says that through doing this whole process of seeing the tzaddik, giving tzedakah to the tzaddik, and speaking out your heart before the tzaddik. So the tzaddik is ayin. He's holding in a place of ein sof. He's holding in an infinite place where he's unified everything in creation, and you could say accolades for him, and he won't be a Baal Gaiva. You could do anything to him, nothing changes. He's ayin. So now when you go and do all of these three things, and you speak out your heart in front of the tzaddik, just by speaking out your heart, you didn't do anything, you didn't find anything. You're nichval the ayin. You're subsumed in this place of ayin. You get a little taste of it. You absorb yourself into it. The Zebechinas Zarka, one of the cantillations, the trups, and the Torah is a Zarka. The Zohar says this derikas la'asr this nitilas mutam. It's thrown back to where it came from. Shitach tzar samachos le'in seif. Now, Rebbe is going to go on to explain this whole thing of the return of Malchus to Ein Sof. Ein Sof is the will of all wills. What's going on? Malchus we translate as kingship, so it sounds like someone that has power. But he says that they're really, it's brought down many times in Svar Makdash, Malchus peh is the words, is the speech. The letters of speech, specifically the letters. Every single letter in the Hebrew alphabet has a different ratzon, a different will that Hashem is expressing in the world through this thing called a letter, through language. Hashem wanted to express himself in a certain way, to teach and to give over a certain communication of his will. So he made a resh, he made an aleph, with the tzura like that, and it's almost like a picture that's giving over a message. And we know from gematrias that there's much more than that. It's all numerical values, and if you put the numerical values together, you find all sorts of amazing unifications, and then you could put all sorts of shemus and isis and all the things that come out from the letters, from the isis of the diburim of Hashem. And that's all coming out to express Hashem's ratzon. Hashem is basically speaking and saying, hi, this is what I want. This is what's going on. We look at it usually as the Taryag Itin, the Zohar says the 613 mitzvahs, which are really 613 eitzahs, giving us advice, how to live life, what to do, which is beautiful. But it all stems from Isis. Why? Because it's language. What is language? I was thinking this past week a lot about language. Language, Ba'atzam, doesn't have any real meaning. I'll give you a proof. It sounds like language has a lot of meaning. I'm speaking, we're communicating, we're connecting only to the language right now. But the Haraya, anyone who goes to Uman, you go to the Ukraine, and they're speaking gibberish. Personally, I don't understand a word that they're saying besides for, I don't know, spasiba, they're just grunting to me. They're not doing anything, not saying anything. But you don't have to have a big level of emunah to understand that. That's not true. Because they have made a whole system of the Ukrainian language, which in their world, it means something. It means something. To me, it's just gibberish. And when they come to us and they hear me speaking English, they're like, this guy is just speaking this weird foreign language. It doesn't make any sense. Because language doesn't make any sense. It doesn't mean anything, language. It's just when babies, so to speak, when society was in the baby infancy, so they made up all these things to try to communicate, to connect. and we can make more languages out of it. You can have all sorts of college credits from languages. But it's all just ways that we make up that yes means yeah, no means no. We make it up. That's all language. But the Hebrew language is not like that. It is kind of, because it's not like that because it has an inherent meaning. But the inherent meaning wasn't given and made by human beings that want to come together. The inherent meaning was, Hashem said, Aleph, Beis, Gimel, and then Bet, Het, Gimel.
I don't know how many tzaddik they have with that.
Tzaddiks.
There were 6, 7 over there.
Dalith. So yeah, you have all these things that they're Hashem communicating to us. So they have a lot of inherent meaning. And what is that inherent meaning? Which, amazingly enough, is Hashem communicating to us what He wants. All the letters are what He wants. That's what the Rebbe is saying over here, is that...
But more than that, Hashem created the world with letters. Everything is...
Right.
Right,
that's what he's going to say. That's exactly what he's going to say. That's the whole entire existence of physicality and everything that we experience are these letters. Shiur comes out. Scheiner is the wills. Each letter is a specific and distinct will. They're all revelations of what Hashem wants to reveal, His kingship. All of these wills, these forms, comes from one source of everything, which is the infinite will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's no form, there's no letter that you could say, oh, Hashem and Ein Sof is really an Aleph. No, zero. Is what he says. All existence, Yeshus, of the world, Hemiisis, is from these letters. Hanumi Malchus, from these expressions of kingship. Yeshus, Umachmas Malchus. Existence comes from this wanting to express. He wanted to express His will in this world. Kadosh Baruch Hu had the ayin of His pure, infinite essence, and now He created all these different wills, meaning, letters, and forms, and all existence that we see, that we experience. They all get their energy from one source, from the Ein Sof. I was going to bring a little source text, so to speak, a little amazing Gemara that we speak about sometimes. Whenever you find the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, His revelation, His malchus, His will, at the same place, if you dig deep there, you'll find humility. You'll find that if you get to the source of all this bigness of a whole world, then you come back to simple core of Ein Sof, right? That all the letters. I heard this in the summer from Rabbi Yoeli Rosenfeld, that he said from the Zohar that really there is no Aleph Beis. Aleph is one, Beis is 2 Alephs, Gimel is 3 Alephs, Dalet is 4 Alephs. It's really just all Hashem, 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 Hashem. And if you string it out like that, it all comes back to that. It's all just numerical values and obviously different manifestations of Hashem as He manifests. But when you put it all back together, it all folds back, right? Like if you folding clothing and it's all the same thing, it all folds back straight back into that Aleph. It's all just...
But we have a number in Lashon HaKodesh.
The Gematrias.
Yeah.
Correct.
So either way.
Right. But in Yiddishkeit, 1 + 1 = 1. That's in Yiddishkeit.
I mean, Yiddish, not Sephardic.
Yiddish, right. No, we're not getting into it. So that's the idea. The idea is that everything will come back to Ein Sof. Everything will come back to not one, but Ein. Ayin, nothing. Before one. Efes. This is something that's the vesting of all corporeality, all physicality. When you want to do this, you want to get into that space of Ein Sof, you have to get rid of all existence. Zohar speaks about when Moshe Rabbeinu passed on. By Mincha time and Shabbos. This gal is Rava the Ravin. Anyone that's been to Rav Tzimayer, a heilig is man from Rava the Ravin. that Shalshudis, when Shabbos is going out, is the highest time. It just keeps getting higher and higher. Shabbos builds. And it's the time of Ratzain Shabbat Ratzain Ein Saif. It's the highest will. Everything receives from that place. Why did Moshe Rabbeinu pass away in that moment? Because he gave up everything that he had. He didn't have any existence. I'm nothing. Bittul. This goes on to explain how Moshe Rabbeinu was the Yikbar Oisei Bagai. He was buried in Gai, which is a place of Ayin, called Gay Yunasei. Right over here, the translation. Every valley, low place, meaning humility, Ayin, will be lifted up. Be'eretz Mayav. So Bechinas Malchus, David came from Mayav. Moshe Rabbeinu, so to speak, just basically went and left the world into the Ein Sof that he was always connected to, but now he was able to just leave it and stay there. This is the core of all will, which is just Hashem's infinite essence. Anywhere where you see revelations of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will, there you'll find the Ratzain Ein Sof. Moshe Rabbeinu was buried Mul Bais Pa'ar, Keneged against Bais Pa'ar. Why was it called Pa'ar, which was the name of a place? It was actually the name of a disgusting avodah zarah, that they would open their orifices and defecate in front of these avodah zarahs. That was their worship. So what shayches? When a person messes up in Malchus, and we're saying that Malchus is expressions of letters, expressions of words. So, like we said in the beginning of the Torah, is that when a person sins, Nachman said that the permutations of the letters that have been messed up from the Torah, that the Torah says it in a good way, and he messed it up, they get etched in the person's bone in the bad way, and it damages the bone. And when a person speaks out those aviras and he says, Hashem, I did this thing, I did this and this and this, it releases it from the bones. It fixes the core of the person. So he's saying over here is that's where he said that lifar, that opens up for these bad tzirufim. Moshe is the fixing of this, he's the rectification. So he was the kind of the sealing of that mouth that speaks bad permutations. It says bad things. It says that no person knew where Moshe Rabbeinu is buried, like we know. Nowadays we don't have the burial place of Moshe Rabbeinu. Afilu Moshe Yada. It says, V'lo yada ish. Even Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know where he was buried. Because he was totally subsumed in the Ein Sof.
How do we know that he was buried?
How do we know that what?
He was buried.
That he was buried? Yeah.
Maybe he didn't die.
Maybe he didn't die. I think the Torah says that he passed away, that he was... He went, it says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu buried him. Ayin Sham. I don't know, you have to look it up. We'll find out one day. But we don't know where he's buried, but he was buried.
He took nothing with him. Another mortgage, another wife, another children, nothing with him. All the mitzvahs.
I would be remiss to say I don't think anyone ever takes anything.
even a gold teeth.
Since
the mikveh take out.
Since Moshe Rabbeinu, I don't think anyone's ever taken anything to the grave with them. Yeah, I think there was a very famous movie star that was buried with his convertible or something. So he took it with him, but I don't know what good it did. He's driving around there in the grave in a convertible. I don't know. Whatever. Nothing. Yep. Take nothing with you. You come and you go. I always wanted to make a film. I like doing films and making little clips and movies, but I never pursued it that much. But you know how they have these time-lapse films that you can take an entire day in like 10 seconds, and it takes clips and you just see it go, you see the sun rise, see the sun go down. So I wanted to make a time-lapse of a life in 20 seconds. And it goes just from a drop. You just see a drop. And you see formation, pop, baby, forming, old. And then it gets older. And then it goes back into the ground, and you see it decaying, and it goes back to a drop. See that in 20 seconds. I think it would be powerful. Just like, That's where we are. We start from a drop, we end off as a drop. Tipa. That's what we are. No one goes with anything. That's the Ein Sof. When we start off from Chatzuv, from the Ein Sof, and we end off in the Ein Sof. The question is what we do in the middle. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu and all the tzaddikim are revealing to us a little bit how to taste and to get back to the Ein Sof in this world, because that's the whole point of it. We're in a world of coverings, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us all these things to uncover it and to taste the Ein Sof a little bit within this journey that we're going through. And it's about the Ein Sof. Now he's going to bring out this thing that this is all in Moshe Rabbeinu's death. Of course, in Moshe Rabbeinu's lifetime, he had a lot of times when he divested of physicality. And he was, no one did it like Moshe Rabbeinu, 40 days and 40 nights for 3 times in 1 year without food, drinking, and sleeping. Who could say that they did that? The Rebnitzer fasted for years and years, but he did eat, he was human, he did sleep for 20 minutes, an hour. But Moshe Rabbeinu, he was the king of this, so to speak, in this world. But even so, the only way to do this in this world is to run and return. The very famous idea in Chassidus that wherever we go, we sometimes have good times, we run, we get in gash, then we fall back down. Or sometimes we come back down. You got to do that because this is what the world is made of. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be alive. He wants us to be in physicality. He wants us to be in bodies. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants Afar, Scheiner. He wants us in these places. He wants us to be in these places and to be to go out of the places, but then to come back down, to bring it in and to lift it up. Therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to continuously go back and forth from Ein Sof to Malchus, until HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes the neshama, and then we're nechlal again forever in the Ein Sof. I'm going to kind of switch gears a little bit in the middle of the paragraph here. That at certain times a person is going to be davening, Shmona Esrei, Pesukei Zimra, Mincha, Ma'ariv, Tikkun HaKlali, and all of a sudden his whole world opens up and he's just pouring out his heart. Everything is open and he's beyond. He's totally in his lavas. This is just a compassion of HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the person. A lot of times in the yeshivas, they would say it's just sheker, you're just getting high, you just think that you're a big mekubal. But a person that experiences it understands that it's not like that. I'm not feeling anything. It's like flowing. I'm not like thinking anything. It's true. The second that you start thinking, wow, this is so high, yeah, it's done. Right? The second that when you're crying over something, you start thinking, oh, I'm crying, it's over. You're not really crying anymore. It's finished. Right? A genuine cry, you're just crying. You're not thinking about crying. When you're in this space of hislavas in the middle of davening, you're not thinking, oh wow, I'm in hislavas of inside. You're flowing with it. It's just going. You're experiencing it. You're part of it. So it's a kindness from HaKadosh Baruch Hu that He is allowing the Ein Sof to just wash straight through you, and you're experiencing that. When a person sees this, even though he doesn't really see this, I don't see the Ein Sof. Something inside of you is seeing it, and it's mamish opening you up. Take it from this lav nishmasa l'dvekas gadol. That's when all of a sudden you get this fire and this passion. Your tefillah is like insanely awesome. The dabek is asam bar Ein Sof, and you just have this desire, this infinite yearning for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shiur has got us Ein Sof, and it's funny that he's using the lashon of as long as the measure of this revelation Ein Sof, because Ein Sof is Ein Sof. But when we're experiencing it here, it has a limit. It lasts for 10 seconds, for a minute, for 10 minutes. So according to those words that opened up, there was a Baruch Ata Hashem, whatever it was. He'll say it with bittul nefesh and bittul kechaysav. He won't be able to even hold himself back from anything. But someone was just telling me that he was by this Rav Kook in Tveria. He was like describing his davening for like he has to like get like teas and coffee in the middle of davening because he will just faint because he's like so they give him like massages. He can spend like 7 hours in Shmonesser. A person physically can't do that, but he's so davik to himself he won't be able to hold it back, and his body will who knows what. So his people like keep him alive, so to speak, but. His flowing with Ein Sof for a much higher level than the average. But when we feel it sometimes, we don't even know. We don't even know what we're doing. But all our kochos are in the tefillah at that moment. You don't know of yourself. You don't exist anymore. You're not like, oh, Hashem, I'm a big oivet Hashem, and I'm yearning for the Bayre Olam, no, it's just like, Bittul, you're there. You don't even know that you exist. No matter what you do, as long as you're in this world, it's constantly up and down, up and down. It goes up and down. So that you will continue to exist. There are people, I think, one of the 4 that went into the Pardes that just connected to a very high place. He's just separated, remained there. Some people claim that Rabbi Kaplan, who passed away at a very young age and was a tremendous tzaddik and tremendous writer and unbelievable yid, that he would do a lot of meditation, and he just meditated himself into a place upstairs and he just stayed there. So his body just passed on, and that was it. But we obviously we're meant to be here, like he said, what was the lesson? We're meant to be in this world, and as long as HaKadosh Baruch Hu is still giving us life, we're meant to take all of these Ein Sof experiences and bring them back in. So that's what he's saying. Now that we're coming back, we're flowing back. We were in this place of Hispashas Gashmis, we were upstairs, we didn't feel ourselves, we didn't feel others, we didn't feel anything. It was a flow. But then now we're coming back down, we're just falling back down into the world, into physicality and everything. We have to show this to our das. When we were in that place of connection, we didn't have any das. There was no knowledge whatsoever. There was no das. There was no formulation of words. There was a Ein Sof. Now that you're coming back, so when a person's coming back to his existence, to all of the world of letters and of words and of experiences and of talking, he comes back into a world of knowledge. Somehow his das tastes this taste of Ein Sof, where everything is one. And everything is just good. Like we started off the Torah. When a person knows that every single thing is good, this is like a taste of Olam Haba. So this, when we get to these places, which again he said that comes through seeing the tzaddik and tzedakah the tzaddik and speaking out your heart in front of the tzaddik, when you come to these places, then you're nichlal in the Ein Sof. Or when it comes in tefillah, sometimes it just pours out. So you taste and you experience this place of where all of existence is just one. It's just pure, perfect goodness. And now that when you're coming back down, so now you have all the world of, oh my gosh, I have to pay my bills, oh my gosh, I'm back to the Maidas, and back to everything. So now you have to be able to, first of all, he said you have a taste of it. You have a small taste that's still like a residue of in your mouth. There's no difference now to you between good and bad, harsh judgments, good judgments. There is no difference in the Ein Sof between any difference of Rosh Hashanah. Differences, distinctions only come from the different letters. You have different letters, you have Aleph, the Bais, the Gimel, all of these different letters have differences. But you were in the place of Ein Sof, the Ratzon Shavar Tzainis, so you didn't have any differences. Now you're coming back into the differences. You see that all of them, like we said, the Aleph is, the Bais is just Aleph. You saw how everything was just like a kaleidoscope of Alephs, just Hashem. You just were able to see the whole of existence as being just Alephs, all just Hashem. And therefore, everything was all good. So he's saying, Let me see where we're up to. Through this connection, there was no difference in Ritzainis. Over here we see HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to do this, and he wants us to go here, and he wants us this and that. No, there's just one. Yisham Ratzin Pashut. He experienced that simple Ratzin. He has an imprint in his essence that there is such a thing as just Achdus, just singular unity. This imprint somewhere deep in his being is now able to show something to the Das, that the Das itself also should know, and knowing is with all the craziness of numbers, of differences, and of harshness, and everything that goes on in this world, know that what? Everything is kulay toiv, kulay echad. Everything is all good and all one. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu told his generation when he was passing on. Begin to show to your das ki Hashem hu Elikim. What is Hashem hu Elikim? Hashem is Chesed. Elikim is Din. He's saying, I'm showing to your das, right? Why? Because Moshe b'chinas ayin. Moshe was ayin. The Advukim Elav roilehim ladas. And his door that were connected to him, like we were speaking, that you're nichal and you're ein soif, and you're ladas, he could illuminate into their das b'chinas ein soif, that there's ein soif. B'chinas Ravin, this place of the will of all wills, b'chinas Hashem, hu ha'elikim, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the constrictions are all one. And like we were explaining in this Torah at the beginning, that to understand this on a very internal, personal level is that we all have this Ein Sof. We have a part inside of us that is Chelek Eloka Mimal Mamish, that in itself is pure, silent, perfect, fearless divinity. That's we exist in that. Now we have the other part that's everything else. Gazillion things, from thoughts to heart to physicality to desires, everything. Now, with this shidduch that the Rebbe was speaking about, that's what you're speaking about, that, first meet your soul. Your body and your soul should meet. Hello. Hi, I'm body. I'm soul. Hello. Give to each other means that we recognize that we're in this together. We can make believe like we're not, but we are. We're here. I have a body. I have a soul. Let's get together. Let's try to make this work. Then to communicate, that's how you make things work. The body communicates to the soul. You're a beautiful soul. You're amazing. But I'm filled with desire. I want to eat this whole box of donuts. The soul's like, wow, okay, why? What's going on? What's happening, body? The body's like, oh, I'm stressed out. What's up? Oh, well, this and that. And they talk and they have this conversation. And when they have this conversation, and it gets more and more until it breaks open and the body itself starts to crack open all the things that it's going through, it begins to heal. It begins to feel like all that stuff that was imprinted on his bones, like held down, is being released. And all of a sudden it gets this tremendous healing and this tremendous freedom. And it begins to shine. And then we get to this place, that's what he's saying, that it's nichla, when you meet the tzaddik, when you meet your own soul inside of you, where it's nichla in the Ein Sof, and the Ein Sof is nichla in the body. They all of a sudden realize that there was no stira. Ein Sof that we have inside of us is Ein Sof. The body also has Ein Sof. And within every single physicality, there was also a tremendous Or of Hashem. It's just that it was eclipsed, it was covered, it was filled with fears and traumas and all of the things that you covered over to not see it. Now that you have this conversation, this open communication, all of a sudden it sees, there was Ein Sof in all of it. There was Ein Sof in all of the parts. Now all of a sudden, Hashem hu Elikim. All of a sudden you see that, this divine part that sometimes we're in davening and we're having this flow and everything, that's godliness. We experience it, we know it. But then when they have this communication, we have this connection, all of a sudden they see that the body also sees, I'm also part of this. The soul illuminates the body illuminates the soul, and they come together and they recognize that Hashem hu Elikim, that there's no shinoi, there's just kulay toiv, kulay echad. Hashem is a keino, that we should be zeichet to do these things and to be able to, like where we started off today, the first line was, this happens every single time. The Rebbe said that every time you do this, you're driving in the car, and you're on College Road, and you have 30 seconds, and you just say Hashem. I am so stressed out. I have so much going on. What? This and this and this. All of a sudden, it can open things up. 30 seconds, you just opened up a little part, you feel connected to Kadosh Baruch Hu. It happens every time. It's not a big, tremendous thing you do. Well, this comes out, it comes in every single time, in every single moment that you're able to just speak out your heart. It opens it up and it connects, and Hashem should help that we should be able to feel that and taste that even here. Shokoya, chazak u'baruch.
And 6 times delivery baby. ילד שנולד, נולד אימא, ידיים סגור.
כן.
ולא עלינו, שעבר 120 שנה, איך מתים הילדים?
פתוחה? כן? כן. So what's the pshat?
שטס. הם רוצים כל העולם כולו, ושעוזבים, עוזבים את הכל. לא לוקחים שזה עוד כאן. יראים בטוח, לא לוקחים שזה
No, but why would you have to with the eyes? They come in closing the eyes open.
הוא התקשר אליי, הסביר לי איזה חצי שעה.
ידיים. ידיים.
אז הם עושים כל העולם כולו.
שהיו כמה מיטות. השנה עם כולם, מי שאמר יבוא, אנחנו חסרנו רק מיטה אחת.
So I'm step on.